Your golf ball is the most technologically advanced, or it's not. Your golf ball is either the most consistent, or it's not. It's the most trusted, or it's not. The fact is, it's either Titleist, the best performing golf ball in the world, or it's not. Prove it for yourself. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf. What will you play?
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to episode 93 of Playing from the Tips, Golf Australia Magazine's preview and tipping podcast that travels the world of golf each week in what is our final episode for 2024. Jimmy Emanuel here in the host chair as we head to the Gippsland region of Victoria, South Africa and Florida to cover all the action happening around the world with plenty of focus on qualifying schools this week as well. Joining me in all of that is the preeminent golf podcast host in the North Shore region of Sydney, a man who by the time we come back next year may have completely moved the podcast studio to another room. Who else but Rod Murray? Rod, welcome.
Yeah, maybe even another suburb. Thank you. No,
another suburb?
I'm
you
not
wouldn't
moving,
do that.
Just saying.
You don't leave the suburb.
Yeah, you said, I found my place when you
I
moved.
have found my place.
Yeah. Next is a once mercurial tipster, occasional monthly medal winner, and the only person to ever be part of this podcast and own a safari suit.
Ooh,
I speak,
nice.
of course, of Adrian Logue.
It's not a complete safari suit. It's a shirt jacket.
Okay.
It's a safari suit.
It's a shirt
Everyone
jacket.
who saw it
Here's
agreed
the
with me
question.
that it was a safari suit.
Here's the question.
I paired it with some like beige pants. I think that's where you've misled.
Safari suit.
Is it leisure wear? Is
No.
that what you're wearing?
No. I
don't know.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, it's
leisure wear.
Please. No, leisure wear is like stuff you wear to the gym.
No, that's athleisure wear.
Oh, athleisure wear, sorry.
What's wrong with you?
Got distracted
Oh, my
very
goodness.
early.
Oh, boy.
Apparel's not
Before
your
we
strength.
dive into this week's action, it's our time to reflect on the week that was in golf, and probably despite a small field and all the other stuff that goes with Tiger's event, Scotty Scheffler winning again is probably one of the highlights.
Boring. Dud field. Who cares? Unimportant event. Back from a holiday, Scotty Scheffler, I don't think it really means anything. I thought Anthony Quayle was a better story. And Jordan Doole's first round scorecard.
Jordan Doole's first round scorecard was remarkable.
But that
Anthony
Quayle
Quayle
story is
was remarkable
extraordinary.
as well.
It's extraordinary
So
that it
for
could
those
happen.
who wouldn't know, 7 penalty shots on the first day when he was 6 under par. It was lift, clean and place in one hole in one area, which is not an uncommon thing in a landing zone where there's a lot of divots and stuff. So
I'd
it's
not
been
heard
done
of it,
quite a few times before. He didn't understand that it was just there. He took the little slip on the first tee and everything like that and lift clean and placed it 4 times, but one of the times he replaced it in the same area. So it's an individual penalty each time. And then he came back to only miss out on making a playoff with Corey Crawford by 2 shots.
Oh, just staggering. So really, he should have won the thing by 5.
Yeah. Well,
It's like those
You can't do that in
athletes
golf,
that fall over in a 800 metre and come back and win
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
You know, nearly win.
Well,
if
also-
you'd have won, it'd be a story. Please.
one of the
You
nicest
missed
guys out there, Quayle. So, and a magnificent player who's had not the best year in Japan. So hopefully that kickstarts him. A member of the Moustache Brotherhood.
I was going to ask
of
how his
Australian.
moustache is going.
Well, he knows that he's the second best moustache in Australian golf. He acknowledges it by text message and everything like that. So, yeah.
Wouldn't mind seeing a screenshot of that if you get a chance.
Oh, no, absolutely I can, of course. The other, I think Joaquin Neiman as well, going over to Saudi and winning, and Cam Smith, another close call. That's just a year of close calls. Obviously won a team championship, but a year of personal close calls. That'll rankle Cam. He's a guy who wants to win tournaments.
Neiman's really developing into some player, isn't he? He's
very
been good,
impressive.
but he looks amazing when you watch him now.
He's
He
so
just can't
impressive.
lose him.
Anyone who went and watched him in Melbourne at the Australian Open talked about his ball flight and his ball striking. He's a really impressive guy. I spent a bit of time with him that week, and really impressive in everything he does.
Worked really hard.
As an athlete,
Yeah, absolutely.
It does. There's something different about how he strikes the ball, and I think you always look for that. There's the players who separate themselves a little bit with their technique.
He's like a whippet in a field of greyhounds, isn't he? This little wiry thing, but somehow he manages to keep up and get it done. He's going to snap in half one day if he's not careful.
Goes back and plays the Chilean Open when he can. That's good people, in my thing. But him winning means the International Series Order of Merit, we've spoken about it all year, everyone has, no one gets a live spot.
This is a scandal, isn't it?
It should be.
This is dumb.
Scandal.
This is wherever you fall on the whole side of things. It is remarkable that you can have a season-long thing trying to attract people to come and play your tour for these events with the lure of this, and then it's gone. It doesn't drop down to the next guy.
No.
It's truly remarkable, and I would have thought more would be made of it.
You can't imagine it'll still be the case next year. I mean, anyway, well, they've made themselves look stupid. That's what they've done. Yeah, this is the thing Liv does. They'll do something really good, and you go, okay, that's impressive and innovative and interesting. And then the next week they'll do something like this, and you go, what is wrong with you people?
And given there's no really set rules about how they go about things, as far as anyone can tell. There is obviously for certain things, but they change things quickly to make it better.
Because they can.
And I would have thought the first thing when someone realised, hey, one of our guys is going to win this and potentially do this, you would have thought, let's make sure we drop it down. Make sure we drop it down and give John Catlin that live spot next year.
If you make it too exclusive, too hard to get to, people stop trying.
Correct.
Well, you'd lose the faith, wouldn't you? Like, you've been slogging it out all year and didn't even consider that this was a possibility.
No.
Like,
I'd be amazed.
Neiman's come from the clouds to take that away, so...
Out of all of that golf last week, we did manage 4 top 10s to take our total to 171 for the year, along with 30 wins. So we will fall short of the magical 200 mark. I say magical because we may have hit it last year. I don't remember. Despite all that, I believe, and Rod, you'll know this, our numbers for the year are still leading all podcasts that refer to their tipping numbers each week, with a caveat.
I haven't checked today, but yesterday we were still leading in the category. It was close.
You do track. You track that, don't you?
Of course,
absolutely.
Well, that's your marker, isn't it? How else do you know if you're doing anything properly or well?
Exactly right. Exactly. On to this week, and the Challenger PGA Tour of Australasia finishes the first half of its season with the unique Gippsland Super 6. Format's kind of the main story here. 3 rounds of stroke play with a 36-hole cut before the fields cut again to 24 players. They then contest 6 holes of medal match play in a knockout format to determine the winner. New Zealand's Kerry Mountcastle did that last year. What do you make of that as a format? It's a bit different. It's a bit of something.
It is. I don't know how you mess with the formats to make the game more interesting. Everything they try just somehow seems to, even this match that's coming up with DeChambeau and Koepka, and we talked about the exhibition things and the Nedbank last week and the good old days. That just doesn't seem to have the same spark to me as that should be really interesting. 6-hole match play. It should be really interesting, 6-hole medal matches, and I'm sure it is really interesting. But there's just, I don't know why it doesn't grab me. Is it just me?
It's a difficult one to broadcast and those sort of things as well. So that adds an element. I think.
Might be just you because you're a bit dead inside, but
fair enough.
A bit. They're a dirge. Like, it's just slow, drawn out. It takes forever to come to a conclusion, and you kind of work out what's going on in the end, and you're into it. But it's if it was edited down to a tight package, then
so not a live event.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem with it.
Not live. Like the Super 6 is fine. Like, I think I'd love to see a highlights package day 1, day 2, find out who's in, and then really focus in on the players who've made the final round.
Yep.
And set those matches up really well.
Yep.
So you know what's at stake, and then cut it down so that you're not like 6 holes. I get, shorter form is maybe watchable, but I don't think it goes far enough to be watchable.
Well, 24 players
in an engaging way.
That many matches is still quite a bit of golf.
It's a lot. It's
covering the old.
That's still you've got to sit down and focus on it for the whole day. Whereas if that could be cut down to like a 2-hour package, then it's consumable then.
But here's the thing, though. Playing that, if you were playing that with your mates, 6-hole matches, it'd be fantastic. It'd be really interesting. But it's hard to make golf interesting to watch via the format. That's difficult to play. Fantastic. But to watch, I don't know what you'd do. Just give the players clubs. They go out and invent some competitions among those European Tour things they do with the attempted holes in one and playing a club a hole where you get to take one club out of the other players. But that stuff kind of works as entertainment, which is I think what you're talking about. Maybe the problem is trying to make it golf with integrity, but a different format. Maybe there's something about that makes it awkward for professional golf.
Yeah. I've just seen as a TV product, if it's going to be 6 hours of TV on a Sunday, then you've got to know like you've got to be able to casually check in and know what's at stake anytime you're looking at it. And in stroke play, you can actually do that because there's a little mini leaderboard all the time, and you know what's at stake. So you can check in on stroke play throughout a 6-hour afternoon or 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever. This thing, every time you're going to be completely disoriented because you're going to go, oh, that guy I was following, he's knocked out now? What happened? Like this, you can't sort of go away, make a coffee or do something else and then come back to the TV and go, oh, what happened? I've lost track of what's going on. Like that's what's going to happen here, which is why it needs to be edited down, and you need to understand what's at stake and see the players in one sitting, like a 2-hour sitting, see them get narrowed down to the winner.
Mm. Yeah.
Is shorter the answer for golf, though? I think we keep saying, we've got to find the
This is right in between. It's not quite short enough.
I'm not sure.
Because I think you get any shorter in a match play format in terms of holes, and it's just you win the first hole and then it's done sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's still big gaps between holes and
I think you're onto something, Logan, in that I would imagine your general golf watcher, if there is such a thing, part of the appeal, a bit like cricket, is you don't have to sit in front of it. Nobody wants to sit and watch 6 hours of continuous golf.
You want to be dad watches 6 hours of golf when I'm on the TV, I'll have you know.
I've done it before too, but that's what I meant. People tend to check in and out of it, go to the lawn, come back, see what's going on. And the shorter you make the format, that you don't watch the footy that way, do you?
No.
You don't go mow the lawn, come back in and see how they're going.
I think that's why it's a one-off thing. And I know the club, Warragul Country Club, like it. They've got a clubhouse that's built around the 18th green. There's a bit of atmosphere and everything like that.
Having said that, I think live it would be fun.
Yeah.
And full marks to Gippsland, whoever the sponsor is in that region, they're associated. We now know it as the Gippsland.
Yeah, that's
we don't call it Super Six. You call it the Gippsland Super Six. That's a smart move on there.
That's right.
Good on them.
Yeah, live would be fun. Are they going to have the walk-on music? They've had walk-on music here.
I'm not sure. I haven't found out. The Cobra is on his way there, so we will find out.
No, you going?
No, I'm not going. No. So Warragul Country Club, 90 minutes or so southeast of Melbourne. Pretty typical regional Australian golf sort of stuff. Tight fairways with tree-lined, small greens, odd bunker. Very good conditioning. That's the sort of main story out at Warragul. Players keep an eye out for Anthony Quayle. We mentioned him before. Probably suited to the format. Good form, clearly. Jake McLeod, his great mate. He's gone close here before. I think lost in the final maybe last year. Tom Power-Horan has won this twice. The first year when they didn't quite make it to the match play because of storms, but won it. He's won this twice. And
it's a victory. It's in the book.
Yep. And is a much better player for the time he spent playing in Europe as well, I think. Ben Eccles, another recent winner, sort of cast of the regulars from the tour. So who will win? Rod, why don't you go first?
Matthias or Matthias Sanchez, who has just been a fixture on leaderboards all year without quite getting it. You see him 6 times every Sunday afternoon. He's just never quite got there, but he's been in it the whole way. He's about due to have and this might just suit him.
Nice. Yep, Loke.
I like that. I've got a thought about which is Cameron John. I just wonder about Cameron John. I'd just like to see him move forward with his career, and I think this would be a good opportunity for him to do that. But I'm not picking him because I haven't got faith in him actually.
2 first names.
Winning
You've got to be wary of 2 first names. Brendan James, Greg Norman, these people that would be...
Okay, David Graham.
David Graham.
Ben Eccles is my pick.
Nice. I'm going to go with Nathan Barbieri.
Cool.
Streaky.
You.
Streaky, but if he gets hot, gets real hot, works really hard, and hasn't had the best year necessarily, but there's a lot of ability there. And
super talented. Does he still wear his hat low?
It's getting better, actually.
Okay, I'm not getting better. Completely on board with that. It's hard to take him seriously.
It's moved a bit further back. Reckons he had a small head, and that was the only way he could do it. Okay. I remember Aaron Pike one day shoving it onto his head and saying that's how you're supposed to wear your hat.
I had a mate years ago who suggested to a bunch of kids at about 3 o'clock in the morning at the cross that they had their hats on the wrong way.
That would have gone over well. Yeah,
he drank through a straw for a bit the next day.
Yeah, I bet.
That didn't go well at all. He said, I went to explain it to them, and I said, that's not a good idea.
Titleist is the #1 ball in golf. Yes, being #1 is a number, and more players trust the Pro V1 or Pro V1X than all other golf balls combined. But being #1 is more than a number. It's a mindset. It's a relentless mission to design and manufacture the best performing golf balls in the game, so you can chase whatever your #1 is. Titleist, the #1 ball in golf.
On we go to South Africa and the ongoing DP World Tour swing over there. Rod, you're going to take us through the Alfred Dunhill Championship.
The Alfred Dunhill Championship. But indeed I am. Now, for those who don't know, Alfred Dunhill, I went and had a look. So I've always associated with tobacco. It's part of the big luxury brand. They did a whole lot more than that. But the founder, in fact, it was the founder's son, Alfred Dunhill, invented the windshield pipe so that you could smoke in your open-topped car without your pipe going out in 1920.
Nice work. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good sponsor.
That's
work.
a good sponsor watch, isn't it?
work.
Nothing to do with what they do these days, but I just thought that was intriguing. I found a picture of it, and it was different. It had like a lid on it. It was bizarre. Anyway,
You don't see many pipe smokers anymore.
no, or open-top cars.
No, that's true.
But apparently you can still get some of these things that are worth quite a bit. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Leopard Creek Country Club, next door to the Kruger National Park in South Africa, owned by Johan Rupert, who is in fact kind of golf in South Africa. Golf South Africa, he's the president or the chairman, you said? Yeah, and I think he's also the president or chairman of the South African PGA, sponsors this, the Dunhill Links. One of golf's most influential people, undoubtedly one of its richest, one of the world's richest. So the course itself opened in 96, a Gary Player design. It's a stunning setting. I feel like these are the sort, Nedbank and this one are the two you think, I imagine people in America think of the Australian Open and the PGA when they think of Australian golf because it's all they'd see. I think of Nedbank and this. And those views across Kruger National Park for this tournament, you always see a giraffe or a lion or an elephant or hippos wandering around. It's just extraordinary for those of us who aren't from the area, so which is one of the great selling points of it. It's had a bunch of work done to it since it was open. In 2017, they shut the course for the year, changed all the grasses from Kike to Bermuda. And then they changed all the greens to a specially developed TIF dwarf that deals better with the conditions and that sort of thing. So the whole year, they didn't even play the tournament that year. It's kind of, I don't know if it's his personal playground. It's a real estate development that he owns, and it's extremely exclusive. It's a bit Augusta. Like, I think if you ask how to become a member, you've already ruled yourself out. I suspect it's one of those things. The course itself, Nicholas made a lot of recommendations. Apparently, Nicholas had a house there.
Okay.
So he exercised his residence rights and explained to Johan what he didn't like about various holes. So lots of things. From all reports, it's hard to tell on TV, it does actually look like a better course than you might expect.
Yeah.
It actually looks like a good and interesting golf course with a bunch of interesting holes.
Yeah. Like Augusta with cart paths.
Kind of, yeah. And
not as much
and Rhino.
elevation.
Yeah.
Well,
Is it
how many
elevation?
Sahalis?
Yeah.
Like as in
looked that up
not
for
as
me?
much change in elevation in the golf course as Augusta.
No, it's a little photo. It's very dramatic, Augusta. I've not been there, but people say they're stunned by the elevation change at Augusta. It's the thing that strikes them the most about the place. Winning scores fluctuated a bit. They got really tough after the 2017 renovation, but the players have worked it out since. 18 under is one of the last 2 years, so you'd expect something similar again. Players, it's a really strong South African field. This is the South African Tour's flagship tournament. If you're a South African Sunshine Tour player, this is like winning the Australian Open or the Australian PGA. It's a big deal. And so they tend to be very successful, the South Africans. Westhuizen is defending. Does anybody remember when I got reamed on Twitter for asking Louis how to pronounce his name in Perth?
I vaguely do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you were over there with
I'm still hurt.
the rocket, wasn't it? You were,
Maybe.
yeah.
Or was it Joey?
Oh, it might have been with Joe.
Back in the golf link.
Golf link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. He outlasted Charles Schwartz. Schwartz has won this 4 times, and don't put it past him to win it again. Doesn't matter how he's playing. He always bobs up here. Eddie Pepperell's got himself an invite. Anybody listen to the Chipping Forecast pod? He was talking about whether he wants to maybe do that because he lost his card, and if he could get an invite, would he go? And he talked about how good the hotel was. Well, he's going, as is his good mate, Laurie Cantor. I'm not interested in any of them. I'm going with Brandon Stone.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, good.
Because I read Ben Coley's preview. If you're into Ben Coley is phenomenal. Right? It's 2,000 words a week on every tournament that's going on and good info. And
Didn't know. That's...
he pointed out, you're going to write that down?
Yeah, I'll make a note of
Put him
that.
up on Twitter. Coley. Shout out to Ben Coley if he's listening.
That could
He's
save me a lot of work on my Tuesday mornings.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, you got to know where to go. So you're not working media. So you actually do work when you're doing media. This is where you've missed the point. I like Brandon Stone. Ben Coley like Brandon
He's a
Stone.
fine young man.
Good player, previous winner at the event, and as Coley revealed to me this morning, has really been on quite a nice little comeback trail. Sort of midfield finishes, but good style setting. Good players are only ever 1 week away from turning that into a victory or close to.
Like?
I'm liking Christian, 2 A's in Christian Bezuidenhout.
Bezuidenhout.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
that's what you say.
Zayden Hout? Well, why don't you go and ask him how to pronounce it, and maybe you can get ragged on social media too.
Can I tell you that's another one of the names in my lexicon of I know how to type it and spell it without correcting it. Like Jazz Jane Watnanond.
Yeah.
No, I need no help, which is sad for my life, but proud moment for me. I'm going to go with Dean Burmester, who was a very impressive player in South Africa and one of those guys that since going to live seems to have improved a little bit as well. Finally, it's the end of silly season for the PGA Tour and it's a mixed event this week. Grant Thornton Invitational. Over to our resident silly season expert, Adrian Lowe.
Invitational expert?
Well, that got my attention. So I thought I'd look into that a little bit. I'm going to dub this tournament a semi-invitational. For clarity, I've defined a true invitational as a tournament where you're not in until the tournament organizer sends you a physical invitation.
Is there anything like
direct to the player as well? It's the type of thing that you've got to be able to take a photo of and put up on social media.
There is one event like that in the world.
An invite. Well,
and they don't call it an invitation.
Even that event, and I think you're referring to the Masters, it's sort of preordained that you're going to get a thing. Like there's qualification criteria.
You're in before you get
you know you're in.
Well,
you don't want to be sure until you get there.
I don't
down
know.
to a final invite.
I'm going to classify this like there's a category which I'm going to say is a true invitational, and I'm not sure there's a true invitational left in world golf.
Okay.
This one.
What about the Sandbelt Invitational?
Anything? Well, Sandbelt Invitational. There's discussion with agents and things like that. Is a physical card sent to the players to invite them?
I think you get a text
direct
or
to
an
the
email
player.
from Clates.
Emails, texts. If an agent's involved at all, it's not invitational. If there's
no professional golf.
If the discussion goes two ways, it's not invitational. There may be no true invitational. Anyway, we get a bit distracted. Grant Thornton Invitational. I don't know. I'm calling it a semi-invitational because this field didn't really qualify.
It's a clunky title, isn't it? Grant Thornton Semi-Invitation. Just don't see the marketing department going for that. Accurate, sure, but...
Indeed. As for the Grant Thornton part of that title, in a sponsor watch sense, they're an accounting firm, audits and advisory, that sort of thing, tax matters.
Sponsor of Ricky Fowler.
Is that right? He's in the field. But if you'll allow me, I'll do a little bit of a hatchet job this week for Sponsor Watch because I don't know if you remember, but in 2022... West Australia's Corruption and Crime Commission found that Grant Thornton had bribed senior public servants to secure lucrative consulting work for the state government.
Is that against the law?
The report.
Cool. Who knew?
Let me tell you, Rod, that the report found that two senior officials in the Department of Communities had been given over $100,000 worth of alcohol, meals, gifts, and sporting tickets, flights, and accommodation. In addition, Grant Thornton employed a family member of one of the public servants in a no-work job. In return, the public servants breached state government procurement policies, including by engaging in bid rigging and ultimately directed over $2 million to the consulting work to Grant Thornton.
Wow. Between that and the price.
Well, we're glad they've gotten on the straight and narrow and now supporting golf.
And journos have got a bad name. Hey, how about accountants?
But anyway, they do great things for golf, despite that's
doesn't matter where the money came from. They do great things for golf. So
it's a few bad apples.
That's right. It probably is actually.
So this tournament is played at Tiburon, which is a Greg Norman course next to the Ritz-Carlton Resort in Naples, Florida. I don't have anything else to say about it. Other than that, I think you know what you're going to get.
Does Tiburon mean shark in something?
It does.
It does. Yeah, it was part of his brand as well.
Spanish, that would be.
Wasn't there a major drama between him and the club? Didn't they end up taking his portrait down? Was that Tiburon?
No, that was
one of the clubs he designed. He was a member, and then there was a huge drama.
The one where he played most of his golf at. They brought in Bobby Weed or something to do the read.
Yeah, and it really went nasty. Took his photo down.
Indeed.
Medalist.
Yeah, well done. Thank you.
The format of this event's quite interesting. Day one, there's a scramble. Oh, that's an Ambrose for our Australian listeners. Then day two, there's an alternate shot, which is foursomes for our Australian listeners, and a modified 4-ball on day three. And the modified 4-ball format is it's going to be interesting. You switch tee shots and then play that ball from.
And in a mixed team event, that really is interesting.
That'd be quite interesting. And then it's a best ball. At the end of the hole. So 16 mixed teams, and through this quote-unquote semi-invitational method, they've actually assembled quite an interesting field. Defending champions are Jason Day and Lydia Ko. There's some notable. Lexi Thompson's playing. I think she's also a Grant Thornton and Ricky Fowler.
I think she's a member at Tiburon.
Oh, is she?
I think she might live right there. Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see many more appearances of Lexi. This could be the long farewell. These sorts of
She'll
events.
just bob up. She'll play occasional events. She's not giving it away completely.
By March, she'll miss it so much she'll have to go back and start playing.
Yeah.
That's often what happens, particularly at
There's a couple of players in the LPGA world who have said Marina Alex and Brittany Lincecum, I want to say.
Yes, Brittany Lincecum, definitely,
yeah.
And Ali Ewing.
Yeah,
well,
Ali Ewing.
Which was a bit of a surprise.
But anyway.
There's a all-Francais pairing of Mathieu Pavon and Céline Boutier.
Nice.
And there's some interesting pairings. Luke List with Lilia Vu, I think, is kind of interesting. Saeed Thagala and Alison Corpuz. I, however, am going to go with the other Australian in the field, Gabby Ruffles. Other than Jason Day, the other Australian, Gabby Ruffles, who's paired with Nick Dunlap, who's a bit of a gun. I reckon that's Gabby will be looking to just top off an okay year by her standards with something which is a bit of an exclamation mark, and Nick Dunlap, who's won twice this year, I think, is a good partner to do that with, I think.
For only one check.
Gabby with her...
That's right, yeah.
Gabby with her brother Ryan caddying for her this week.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you.
So he's been out here filming content, and then he's flown back over to go and caddy for her.
Is he playing hickory golf with Clates a week or two ago?
Yes,
Ryan?
He was filming stuff for his YouTube stuff that he does, and he played...
Yeah, he's really gotten into that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Rod, your tip?
I like Tom Kim and Gino Titikin. I don't know. It could be a disastrous pairing. It could go really well. Who knows? But both good players and both playing well. There's some good stuff. Mel Reid and Cameron Champ. It's quite intriguing to watch this tournament, just to see this mix of styles and players. And I would have the scramble on the last day, though.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Tony Finau and Nelly Korda because it just makes sense. Before we wrap it up, there's plenty of qualifying school action around the world, including PGA Tour, Q School at Sawgrass Country Club, and Live Golf Promotions event in Saudi Arabia. Live Golf Promotions... The first time I was able to find a field was 4 o'clock this morning. Well, it's quite remarkable to me that there wasn't a preliminary list and all that sort of stuff. Sort of players know, but anyway. But they all battle it out for one spot on the Live roster. So my question is, they're on at the same time. If you're in the situation, which one are you going to go play? Exactly.
Well, it depends on a bunch of stuff, including where you're from, would be helpful. But I think you'd probably go for the PGA Tour. I think its future feels more certain. It doesn't feel like PIF want to keep pumping money into Live the way they have been, which to keep the excitement of it going, you need to keep pumping that. There's not much left now. Everyone who's going to say no said no. There's no big name signings going to be announced this year. It feels like they've been told internally, pull in the reins. If it's not making money for the fund, we can't just keep putting it. So it doesn't feel to me...
Plateau, isn't it?
Kind of. Well, Ryan Ballinger wrote a great piece and said they've just kind of hit a really interesting inflection point. This is kind of do or die for Liv. You've got signings coming up. They've made the big splash. They made the big start. But that's not where they need to end up. So I feel like they're now much more keen to do some sort of a deal with somebody, be it DP World, PGA Tour, however it works out, but they want to defray some of the costs. I mean, imagine what they've spent.
Yeah.
And their return has been virtually nil.
They've switched a lot of that focus of what they're spending to soccer now as well, with that league.
Well, it's a global game. It's a broader audience. Yeah. Everybody from the poor to the rich. I mean, golf fits a certain demographic. You can see the appeal in some ways for something like the Public Investment Fund. But I would, if I was a player, I would opt for the PGA Tour. Because the other thing
going to be around.
There's also there's one spot. There's one Live spot.
Only one spot. That's exactly
There's
right.
International Series cards, which then you, after what happened last week, and you think of that's your other avenue. And a lot of the players, well, not a lot of the players, a number of the players, guys like Trav Smythe and all those sort of guys who have that International Series status are there. So they don't need that. They're going for a one. It's like a Monday qualifier of the grandest proportions. You're not just getting into one, you're getting into 14.
So here's a question. If the entire men's professional golf world is going to crack open, which it feels like it might, but the whole thing is in just such a strange state, is now the opportunity, and I was thinking about this, I don't write a column anymore, but this I would have thought would have been an interesting column piece. what are the 15 global events that you would make into a world tour? Think about the 15 tournaments that were memorable to watch this year. You'd have an incredible spread of tournaments around the world, globally and whatnot. That's a tour that you can take on the road, that live style thing of doing that, and then you have these other tours feeding in from underneath. That would make sense to me. Good for the game. Now is the opportunity to do it. If you want to create a fifth major now outside of America, in Asia or this part of the world, now is the time to do it. As Winston Churchill said, never waste a good crisis. Never waste it. Now is a real opportunity. I don't feel like any of that is happening in the background, but people often say, if you could go back and start again, well, guess what, folks? There actually is an opportunity right now to start again almost. So, But yes, I'd be going for the PGA Tour card because they've got secondary leagues. You don't make your card, you get to start on you can keep playing. These Australian events have been so important for our players. We've watched our own players improve their play locally because they're getting the chance to play. So when they do finally go overseas, they're actually sort of tournament ready. They've got a chance to further their careers. That is the sort of thing that needs to feed into the next level, and the next level, and then you get to the top level. That would be a sensible way for the sport to be organised.
Yeah.
Meritocracy.
Yeah.
And make it qualify. I mean,
I think part of the live qualifying, or one facet of qualifying for live is to build your personal brand a little bit and show that you're keen. Like you've got to turn up for everything that they've got on offer. And so I think some people in that field for the live qualifying will just be turning up because it's on offer, even if they've got a very remote chance of winning or they're not in very good form, or it's only for one spot. Year after year, if you show that you're keen, then I think you might get that, because who knows what they make it up as they go along. If there's a spot in a team, sometime mid-season they'll just bring somebody in.
Yes, absolutely.
If Rory said tomorrow he was interested in playing on live, by next Tuesday he'd have a team and a place on live. That's how it works.
If you show you're keen enough and you keep putting your hand up and you're playing,
showing up and doing it,
you can
doing the right things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right.
So.
Well, that's a good end point for episode 93 and 2024. Before we go, New Year's resolution from you, Ron?
Good Lord, it's a bit early for that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why I thought I'd put you on the spot.
Nothing.
No, I didn't think you would. Logue?
I just carrying on.
Well, you're doing
diligently.
Yeah. Just nose to the grindstone like I always do.
Just
like everyone in Australia and golf knows you to be.
Hard work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we look forward to that in 2025. Yeah. You can, of course, keep up to date with all this action and so much more on the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au. Thank you for listening to Playing from the Tips all throughout 2024, and we will be back on January 7, 2025.